Hello, Star Wars Unboxing fans. Welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba's Star Wars Unboxing Show. I'm your host, Darth Tuba. And I have the famous red target. What does this mean? This means that a very special item has come. For those who don't know, I do not live very close to a Target. I do have a Target within a driving distance, but I don't like to get out and go there very much because it's kind of a hassle. It's like an extra hour and 10 minutes out of my day just to get there and back. And frankly, toy hunting in 2024 hasn't been all that great. Okay, just hasn't been all that great since COVID, honestly. So I do a lot of pre-ordering and stuff, and then things come in the mail. It has become the new way of doing things. I have been a little bit more selective on what I choose, and to choose to pre-order. But this one, I was excited that they had it right away. They did not do a pre-order on it. This wasn't a pre-order. This was an actual just order. And it got shipped out that day, and it came to me like 3 days later. So I am thrilled to be able to share this with everyone. And this is the Retro Collection Phantom Menace Retro Collection. 6-pack, right? Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All 6 figures, brand new to the retro line of figures. I am such a fan of these. Hasbro, let's talk. Why didn't you do this 25 years ago when it came out? I know why you didn't use it. I mean, it was a whole different thing. Nostalgia is a very weird thing. I know that. But this is such a cool thing. The Retro Collection. I mean, part of me, think of it this way. Part of me feels like, why did Hasbro do anything but retro style? Seriously, think about it. I mean, they're figures. They're little small, they were, for us adult collectors, we think back to the retro style, kind of figures. We didn't care about 47,000 points of articulation. We didn't care that the Luke Skywalker face was yellow hair, which unless you happen to find one with the blonde, brown, fully brown hair. I don't know. We didn't care about that. We just wanted our Luke Skywalker action figure. And yes, there are channels where they talk about all the horrid things that Kenner did with Luke, like making a Jedi outfit where he had the glued helmet on and he couldn't take the helmet off. I understand that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that those complaints aren't valid. I am just saying that for the most part, since then, with the Power of the Force 2 coming out in the mid-90s, we were getting buff figures, and then we were getting more realistic looking figures, but there was just something like, we didn't, not that we didn't like them, and yeah, the look, the sculpts were great, the looks were great, but we would have been happy with just this. Maybe not in a 6-pack like this. We'd like to have them individually. But, yeah, we would have been really happy with it. So, we're going to do kind of a double unboxing, all right? We're going to unbox this box. Okay, so who's in here first? Let's just talk about the box in general. Now, I do appreciate that Hasbro is using this kind of distressed box look with these little slightly creases and scrape marks and stuff to kind of differentiate between original retro figures and real, I shouldn't say original retro, original vintage figures from the 70s and 80s and the retro style. I don't know how much that matters when you're dealing with brand new figures. I understand it when you're producing figures that are on you're reproducing figures from the 70s and 80s, but I don't know if we really need to do that here. Nonetheless, I get it. It's probably just a printed thing. They don't want to reprint or redesign something, so they kept that going. That's fine. What's included here? Basically, the box, you got the title here, the Phantom Menace. You've got some basic information on the bottom. And then both front and back look identical. You've got Battle Droid, Jar Jar Binks, Darth Maul, Queen Amidala, Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Okay? Interesting that Anakin is missing from this. Very interesting. But, nonetheless, for the older fans, I suppose these are the characters. Although, won't argue. Would you want Jar Jar or would you want young Anakin? Personally, I would have liked both. But if I had to choose between one or the other, I'd probably choose Jar Jar. because I've always like, it would be really cool to have a retro, 5POA basic sculpt. Another thing about 5POA basic sculpt, think about the companies like Reaction, okay? They produced and have been producing 5POA figures, very basic sculpts of characters from movies that never received them. I collect Star Wars, but I have a nostalgic love of action figures from Battlestar Galactica, Buck Rogers, what was the other one? Oh, Black Hole, Disney's The Black Hole. I loved all those figures. I had a couple. They kind of came and went. Oh, I've had Clash of the Titans. That was the one I had a few figures of. MASH. Yeah, the TV show MASH. About the very real Korean War and the hospital unit in there. My father was part of the MASH, not 4077. He was part of the neighboring 8063rd. Just fun fact. Although it wasn't during Korea. It was immediately after the Korean War ended. He was in there for a couple of years. But I digress. They had a MASH playset, and you can still get it on eBay. You can get the figures, the playset, the Jeep, everything for reasonable amounts of money. So look for it if you really, for all those MASH enthusiasts. Who knew, right? I loved all of those, and then of course even G.I. Joe got in on it. They used to have the 12-inch, and they dropped down to that 3 3/4 inch. They got a little more into the more points of articulation. They did a lot more posable figures. So I don't know why anybody felt the need to have to get too crazy with it, but I guess maybe they were just trying to differentiate themselves from the original Kenner, and now they have brought it back. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these out. This is basically just a fancy container that has the other figures in them, right? So I'm going to showcase each one of them. And then what I want to do is go and double check, because what I've been starting to do with the retro collection of carded figures is that the retro collection is basically they're utilizing the same racing stripe, Phantom Menace logo. Even the photo art is all the same in many cases as the vintage collection that's been coming out the last 15 years. If I see what is the identical figure, I plan on unboxing this one. Why? Because I like to have, I kind of see it as all one thing. There's the carded art with the new vintage looking figure, and then there's the retro one, which I always unboxed. So that's kind of where I am. And maybe if I see along the lines, if I see these figures on sale somewhere, maybe I'll get a second one to display a handful of them in their cards. But starting out, we have Obi-Wan. Interestingly enough, kids, when he was in the Star Wars trilogy, we called him Ben Kenobi, at least at first. Then they switched it up to Obi-Wan during like Empire and Jedi, when he was like the spirit, character. But we really knew him as Ben Kenobi. Remember at the very beginning, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I wonder if he means old Ben Kenobi. But then in the prequels and beyond, he is known as Obi-Wan. Okay, the retro is an actual sticker. Okay, but as I said, I may not even bother keeping the cards. I may actually end up unboxing this. We'll see. I'm going to go through them all and then look. We're going to go part of the video. We're going to go do a search. All right, Obi-Wan, Phantom Menace, no robe. Does come with the handheld blue lightsaber, very similar to the later year lightsabers that they were giving the figures back in the 70s and 80s. Awesome. Okay, next up, Qui-Gon. Oh, a retro Qui-Gon. I love it. I love Qui-Gon. Now, I will say that the cards do come out a little bent here, so I'm not quite sure why that is, although a little bit of putting them in either in a case if you want to display them carded, putting them in one of those star cases will straighten it out nicely, all right, and then probably keep it there. They are unpunched, so that's cool. Just love, I was always in, this is one of my favorite characters from the prequel. So sorry that he did not survive the first movie. I understand why he didn't survive the first movie. My only problem with him not surviving is that they gave it away with the freaking title that John Williams music, Qui-Gon's Noble End. Oh, couldn't believe it. But it made sense for the story. So there's Qui-Gon. Great sculpt, actually, for a vintage or retro style figure. I think they really capture the Qui-Gon-ness of Qui-Gon. Let's move on. Darth Maul. There he is in all of his final dual role, glory, with his fancy robes that they just kind of, cut right out and made the legs move, similar to what they would have done with those Return of the Jedi figures. Really, really cool. And he's got the double. They just took two lightsabers and glued them together to make the double, kind of a retro style double-bladed lightsaber. I was curious about this one, the battle droid. So looking at it closely, I'll be honest with you, not only do I really, really like this sculpt as a retro figure, I kind of prefer it to what they did for the normal sculpt. It's just a little bit beefier. It's just got a little bit more heft to it. Because those battle droids, I mean, I understand you can't fold them up like they do when it comes out of the big transport, where they all kind of fold out. So it's kind of cool that you can bend the figure, but it just seems that they're so brittle and they can barely stand. This one looks like it's got a little bit more weight to the bottom than it could stand. I guess we'll find out, though. There's your battle droid. Okay. How are we doing here? 4. We got 2 more. Yes. Everyone's favorite. Jar Jar. The only thing that's weird about this Jar Jar is his eyes. His eyes look a little dark. But I guess all of the figures had that little dark eye thing, right? The more beady-eyed little thing. So that's just based on the paint app. Another thing I'm loving about the retro style is that a lot of people are doing a lot of customized 3D printing of, retro style figures, which I think I want to get into eventually as a hobby, and just creating figures just for myself that don't exist in the collecting universe. And the thing is that what's cool about it is that the paint apps on all these figures are very basic, so that makes it easier to do on your own. Versus the paint apps that you see on the more modern figures that are really complex. And I don't know if I have the talent really to do that. Jar Jar looking great. Again, I'll be curious to see if we have this, if these figures exist. If they don't exist in vintage collection form, I will keep them in these cards until they sometime do get created. And then lastly, but not least, the Queen Amidala. That's like such a vivid picture. That image right there. This outfit, I know she wore like 10 outfits in Phantom Menace, but this outfit to me is very quintessential of when I think of the marketing and all the commercials and all the things that I saw for Phantom Menace when it first came out. This is the image that comes to my head first. Like, that's not aside from Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan with their sabers, Darth Maul, this is the next image. I just loved that outfit, even though really it was only one little scene in one, a couple of lines in one little scene. That's the only, which is probably good, because I don't think you could ever see her running around with this outfit. I don't even think she could like tiptoe. It was like Flintstone, like that kind of thing. So there you go. All right, so now I'm going to keep this box. It's going to go with the other ones. I don't know why I'm going to keep it. I think I'm just going to display it over here. But I want to find out, when it comes to these figures, how many of them, if any, if all, or some, or none, have vintage collection counterparts. Okay? So we're going to go and look at my display over here right now and see if we can go on a hunt for these 6. I'm sure I could look it up and just already tell you this, but I think it's more fun to do it this way. So let's go on the hunt. Okay, so I kind of put all the figures in order. It looks like we're starting with Empire Strikes Back, Revenge of the Sith. So Jedi, there's some Attack of the Clones, Star Wars. Okay, so I'm not seeing any Phantom Menace. All right, so let's come around here. This is the next part of it. Attack of the Clones, Empire. I'm just starting by looking at the titles until I see a lot of Jedi, Empire. Probably going to miss it. Oh, Phantom Menace, but Mahonic. Nope, not him. Naboo Pilot, Aura Singh, Gungan Warrior. Okay, Qui-Gon. All right, I think that's one. Yep, I mean, they have different stickers or different promotions on there, but they are, in fact, the same. So this one's going to get unboxed. Okay. Phantom Menace. And there's a battle droid. and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Let's look at those two and see what we have here. Yep, it looks like, well, Battle Droid's kind of cut off here a little bit, but looks like that is the same. And it looks like Obi-Wan is also the same, although this Obi-Wan does include a jacket. So, all right, so there's two more. We have Queen Amidala, we have a couple more Phantom Menace. Oh, there's Darth Maul. Let's check that. Get a different looking figure, but definitely the right one. Okay, moving right along here. We have some Jedi, Clone Wars expanded, Jedi, Sith, expanded, Clone Wars, Jedi, Sith, Jedi, expanded, Force Awakens. Now we're getting it. Oh, and I see Jar Jar there. I can tell that one too. Okay. So who's left? There's only one left. Queen Amidala is the only one left. I have a feeling this is going to be the one that we are not going to see. The reason I say that is because this is a tough figure to put into a container. Yeah, I don't think we have Queen Amidala. I know we're into Ahsoka and Jedi and other things here. Sorry for the bad light. Clone Wars cartoon. Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, I don't think so. All right. There's a Mandalorian. So I'm going to actually just put, oh, you know what? I'm going to have to put her in a case because I don't want to punch the card. So she will find her way. And we have a couple of, the Book of Boba Fett. We have so it's kind of, I'm going to put her in kind of like the oddball section. But the rest of them, we're going to unbox. All right, so these 5 did find their way into other cards, so we are going to unbox them. Starting with Qui-Gon. Sometimes these retro figures make me think of retro vehicles, and I would love to have a retro Eopie that includes a little springboard trapdoor kind of way you just stick the figure in like that. That would be so cool. All right, so really cool figure. Oh, they handle the lightsaber so well. Just out of curiosity, you're really getting kind of two different imagery, right? There he is by himself with just his pose that you would see him fighting Darth Maul with Obi-Wan. That's cool. All right, speaking of Obi-Wan, I love the blue. I love the blue lightsaber. Yeah, does he hold? Yeah, these are always. I mean, these are obviously the rent. There's a part of me that wishes that they might have included the lightsaber that kind of came out of the arm, but it did in fact mean you couldn't hold the blaster. So really, really cool. Right out of the gate, does he stand? Come on, stand up. A little bit of adjustment. There we go. Good. Gonna spread him out a little bit. So then we'll get Darth Maul in between them. Interesting with the saber. Now, I think he has to. I'm not exactly sure how he's supposed to hold it. So I have this noise going on here. I got some stuff going on down here in my basement, my Star Wars studio. But I love how the way he holds it. Pretty cool, right? So, nice. All right, cool. All right, let's move on to, let's do Battle Droid. Battle Droid. Now this one I'm really curious about when it comes to his, I just like the look of this figure. I thought they did an awesome job. I don't think it really sacrifices anything. You know, at least from the pose. I mean, I do like that they gave him a bent arm, so he could kind of do the right. And we'll put. And let's see. Does he hold his? Yeah, his blast. Oh man, Hasbro, thank you. What a great job! Holy cow! Oop. Darth Maul liked it so much he passed out. Sorry, my table's a little shaky. All right, and let's see. How's his feet work out? Nice. Well done. All right. And lastly, but not leastly, Mista thinks this is going to be my favorite figure. I like how they gave him a battle droid blaster. Does he ever actually hold the blaster? I don't even think he does, but I'll give him a blaster. I'll let him have his blaster. Okay, it's nice that they give theirs a little bit of a play there so they can hold his blaster. And I seriously doubt he'll have any issue standing. There we go. All right. I'm sure Queen Amidala would also stand fine because it's pretty much just a flat base. I think the actual original figure that they did make of Queen Amidala in that outfit was a flat base. So who knows? But anyway, so there we go. We have our vintage collection, retro collection, loose versions of the 5 figures plus Queen Amidala that I'm not unboxing. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please check out all the other, I'm really happy with these. And please, Hasbro, continue to make small amounts of these in future years, like an Attack of the Clones version of 5 or 6 figures, a Revenge of the Sith, maybe some Clone Wars. Let's do just a couple of them from each, okay? And I'm going to put them in. I have a nice little display case I can put these in. Real excited for that. Thank you so much for watching. Check me out on YouTube and all the other great content that I'm providing on, check out all my playlists. Check out all the other content on the Red 5 Network. Thank you, Red 5, for supporting the channel. Until next time, folks, till the next video, may the Force and the toys be with you.